Hey there guys, and welcome back to Dino Reacts. So guys, I wanted to jump on here today and just give you my top 10 Christmas horror movies. Now you will be surprised the amount of movies you can watch that are horror related over the holidays. We're going to jump straight in guys with number 10, and it's Christmas Evil that came out in 1980. So guys, this movie, it came out actually before a lot of the more well-known Killer Santa movies. And to be honest, it wasn't really noticed as much as the later ones were. Now this movie centers around the character of Harry, and he's kind of like this toy maker. He works in a factory and he's convinced he is going to turn into Santa. So it's a bit like the movie The Santa Claus, just with a killer instinct to it. Now with this movie guys, he does put on the suit, he goes ahead and starts chopping people up left, right and centre. It's a darker version of the Santa Claus to be sure, but it's a good one if you like slasher movies. Again, there are definitely better Santa horror movies out there, but this one is a good one if you want to see kind of where it originated from. Coming in at number 9 is Santa's Sleigh, which was released in 2005. Now guys, this movie, it actually stars the wrestler Goldberg taking on the role of Santa Claus. Of course, Santa is much different than the one we know and love. His mythology has been changed, so now he is the son of Satan, and Christmas Eve, Christmas Day is the night of Sleigh. And that's exactly what he does. He slays anyone that gets in his way, slaughters them left, right and centre. It's a fun movie. It's definitely more of a horror comedy than an all-out slasher, but I did really enjoy it. I will throw it on every couple of Christmas just to see, do I still enjoy the movie? Does it still hold up? And I gotta say, for the most part, it does. You know what you're getting with this movie when you throw it on. You know you're just turning the brain off, you're enjoying it with some popcorn and having a good time. Making my number 8 spot is A Christmas Horror Story, which was released in 2015. So this one guys, it stars William Shatner, and he plays this kind of DJ jockey who's pretty much just telling these horror stories over Christmas Eve. Now it's a fun movie. I will say when I went into this, I wasn't expecting too much. I didn't think it was going to be great, especially from the trailers. But when I watched it, I absolutely loved it, and it's actually become an annual watch for me every year. It's very similar to, Trick or Treat that you'd watch on Halloween. It's a couple of different stories involving different characters and different monsters. In this one, we get Santa, we get killer elves, we get ghosts. I think there's zombies at one point. There's a lot going on in this movie. Definitely check it out guys. I guarantee it will become an annual watch for you too. Coming in at number 7 is Krampus, which was released in 2015. Now in 2015 guys, there was actually a lot of different Krampus movies released. For some reason the characters had a surge in popularity, but this one is definitely the best. It's written by the writer of Trick or Treat, so you kind of know straight away what you're getting with this movie. It's definitely fun, it's campy, and there's good horror elements in there too. I will say there are a lot of jump scares in this movie, and it reminds you a lot of the 80s. It reminds you, things like Poltergeist is what I liked about this. There's a lot going on. Krampus himself looks absolutely incredible and terrifying in different parts of the movie. I will say as well though, there's a lot of different creatures and monsters in this one. The special effects are great. The evil gingerbread men are definitely a highlight in this movie, but there's a lot to love with it. If you like good old-fashioned 80s monster movies, this is one you'll enjoy. It's very similar again to Poltergeist and movies like that. Coming in at number 6 is Black Christmas, which was released in 2006. Now guys, this one, it is a remake of the classic Black Christmas, but for me, I love this movie. I've always really liked it. When it first got released, it did get a lot of hate, but I just always enjoyed it personally myself. It's the same storyline, it's the exact same setting, and for the most part the same killer. So again, we are in a sorority house with some sorority girls, and there's a killer stalking them from within the house. Now with this one, what I like is they up the factor on everything. We get a lot more gore, we get a lot more laughs, and a lot more scares. Even the killer himself, they do kind of go into the backstory more on him. I'm generally not a fan of that, but I didn't mind it in this movie. They kind of go through Billy's past, his family history in the house over Christmas time. So there's a lot going on in this movie, but at the same time, it's completely a movie you can turn your brain off for, grab some popcorn and have a good time with. It's campy, good, fun. It's absolutely the goriest probably on this list. But I did like it. I also like the inventive ways kills were made in this movie with different Christmas themed weapons. I will say guys, give this a watch. Of course the classic is the classic for a reason, but if you want to just mix it up a bit, check this remake out. Making the position right in the middle of this ranking is Wind Chill, which was released in 2007. And there's a reason this is kind of the middle ground for me. I really enjoy this movie. It's definitely more of a slow burn movie than the others on this list. So the film stars Emily Blunt as a college student who essentially just accepts a lift from another college student on the way home for Christmas. Now unfortunately, after tensions kind of arise between both of them, they both become stranded on an isolated snowy road with no sign of help. After a while, kind of supernatural forces begin to haunt them, and the movie progresses, yes, at a slow speed, but it is very eerie and it is very creepy. There are a lot of twists and turns in this, there's a lot of red herrings, and the ending itself is extremely emotional. If you haven't seen this, guys, over Christmas time, throw it on this Christmas and give it a watch. Hitting the number 4 spot is Rare Exports, which was released in 2010. So guys, again, this is a movie that completely changes the mythology of Santa Claus. And I gotta say, out of every Santa Claus in this list, this is by far the creepiest one to me. So he's this kind of ancient being who's been locked in a cage by the research team. This movie, again, it is a bit more of a slow build type movie. A lot of it is spent talking about Santa Claus or just seeing him in that cage. But the actor who plays him does a great job because you're nothing but terrified when you're watching him in that cage. You don't really know what he's capable of or what he could do. The third act in the movie as well is pretty much all out action and just mayhem. His elves do kind of come to save him, but that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't want to put spoilers on this ranking, guys, so if you haven't checked this one out, throw it in and give it a watch. Coming in at number 3 is Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Now guys, most people will know this movie. It's kind of the definitive crazy killer Santa movie. So most horror fans that I know will have seen this one, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. As well as that, when the movie was released, there was a lot of controversy for it. Of course, they're dressing Santa Claus up as this maniacal killer, so people are going to be angry. I know a lot of people picketed this movie at the time. They were trying to get it banned. There was a lot of controversy with it, but again, it never really grew into that classic that some other horror movies are today. So if you haven't seen it, guys, check it out for sure. It's one you should be watching every Christmas. Reaching the number 2 spot is Gremlins from 1984. Now some people may not say this is all out horror, but this is definitely a horror movie to me. The second one is definitely a lot campier, it's a lot crazier, but I do think the first one has those horror elements down to a T. I really enjoy this movie, guys. It's about a boy called Billy who gets a present from his father on Christmas. Now the present is Gizmo, our little gremlin friend, who comes with 3 very important rules.
Really important. Number 1, he hates bright lights, we know that. But you gotta keep him out of the sunlight. Sunlight will kill him. Number 2, keep him away from water. Don't give him any water to drink. And whatever you do, don't give him a bath. And probably the most important thing, don't ever feed him after midnight.
Billy, of course, does not follow those rules, and Gizmo gives birth to multiple mogwai, so they're kind of evil gremlins in this one. So they kind of cause mayhem, destruction everywhere they go on Christmas, and it's up to the family to fight back against these gremlins. For me, guys, this is kind of like the hocus pocus of Christmas. It's a great holiday classic. It's dark, definitely. There's some good humor in there, but they don't go overboard with the humor. It's a great movie for the family to kind of throw on for Christmas, but even if you're a horror fan, I absolutely recommend this one. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. And making the number 1 spot is, of course, Black Christmas from 1974. So guys, this one, it does actually star some big names. So Mark Kidder is in this, Olivia Hussey, John Saxon from A Nightmare on Elm Street. We have a lot of big name stars, and that does help the movie for sure. But also, this is kind of the movie really that did start the whole slasher craze. Halloween, of course, gets a lot of credit for it, but this is the one that had those POV shots that Halloween got. As well as that, the killer, he's not really revealed throughout a lot of the movie, as in you don't see the killer. Now again, guys, I'm not going to give a lot of spoilers away with this one either. What I do want to say though is this is a very disturbing and creepy movie. Even we're not seeing the killer, you know, we're hearing him on the phone with those kind of obscene phone calls. The language he uses in those scenes is just very disturbing. As well as that, the music used, the kind of Christmas themed music set on this very dark setting with these bodies being discovered throughout the house. It's a very creepy, very eerie movie. I will say, guys, I love watching this movie every Christmas time. I do kind of go back and forth between this and the remake. I'll always watch a different one every year. But of course, this far outshines the remake in its simplicity, which is what I like about it. The remake has a lot of blood, guts and gore. Now, of course, this one does too. It has some really creative Christmas themed kills in there as well, but it's just a more simple movie. You know, they keep the killer in the dark. A lot of it is tension building there as well. Not a huge amount of action happens in this movie, but I don't mind that. You're constantly wanting to see who the killer is and waiting to see what happens to victims next. It's a great one, guys, to throw on for Christmas. I would, of course, say turn this one on first and watch the others after. But guys, look, that's just my top 10 Christmas horror themed movies to watch over the holidays. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what your favourite Christmas horror movies are. And if I missed one that you do really enjoy, let me know that also. So guys, get watching as much Christmas horror as you can before the holidays are over. And until next time, Heidi ho.